Are you guys ready? I'm excited for this today. It's going to be awesome. Okay. Our first speaker of the day, Jon Kovach Jr. is an award-winning international motivational speaker. He's a top-rated accountability champion. He's awesome on accountability. Like, that's half of getting to your goals is accountability. And he's a mastermind facilitator. He has helped multi-billion, with a B, billion-dollar corporations, including Coldwell Banker Commercial, Outdoor Retail Complex. Cotopaxi, I don't know what that one is. Public Relations Student Society of America, exceed their annual sales goals, which is totally incredible, through Mastermind methodologies. Jon is president and CEO of Amplified Minds and the founder of Champion Circle Network Association. Jon speaks on a number of topics, including accountability and mastermind methodologies. He stars on a number of stages, podcasts, and live hour shows as hosts, MCs, and keynote speaker. So bring Jon to the stage, guys. Give it up.
It was dark, and I was absolutely stuck. My shoulders were pinned to the rocks beside me, and there was no way that I could move. As I sat here in the darkness, dust began to pillow up and enter my lungs as I could do nothing else but sit there and breathe and try to remain calm. You see, I'm 30 feet below the Earth's surface. And the one thing that's keeping me from escaping this horrible, confined position is a motionless body that's just right in front of me. I can tap it with my fingers. As I sit here, I wait instruction, though it seems hopeless, and I think to myself, is this it? Is this how I go? A few hours before that exact moment, some friends of mine and I decided that we were going to go caving in the Black Hills of North Dakota. And I thought to myself, you know what, I've built forts in my living room before, so I can go caving. I can crawl through caves and tubes and be okay. I can be okay with darkness and claustrophobia. So I thought I was prepared. I thought I was ready. And I knew that if I went with my friends, that we would have a team, that we would be together, that would be able to do this all together. And so we took this trip, and we drove to the Black Hills of North Dakota to go to one of the most famous caverns in the area. And we were so excited. We knew that it would be about 2.5 hours to get to this beautiful cavern. And we were totally prepared. I mean, we've got a resume of building forts and crawling through tubes and playgrounds that qualified us to be able to cave and spelunk through the earth. With our guides in hand and with our admiration for what we were about to see and witness and experience, we plunged into the earth. About a 2-mile hike in, we got on our hard hats with our headlamps, and we started crawling through the earth. About an hour into this endeavor, we've explored some really cool tubes, some really awesome caverns, small rooms they call them, and what we had to do in some of these tight spaces is single file crawl on all fours. And as we did this, we would come upon little spaces, and single file we would crawl through, either army crawl or kind of wiggle our way through these cracks and make it to our we'll call it the penultimate, for those of you who don't know what that word is, that's the second to last, the penultimate section of our descension into the earth. And they called this the wormhole. And the wormhole is a 30-foot long lava tube, dried out lava tube, that all you can do to pass through the wormhole is stick one arm forward and one arm back, and you have to wiggle and use your feet to push yourself through this 30-foot tube. Now, the fastest way through this tube is to go single file and to stay closely behind the person in front of you. And as we start to do this, I said, well, I want to get through this as fast as possible, so I'm going to follow the brave people. So I went second or third. One person, two people in front of me, plus our instructor, plus the person guiding us through these tunnels. And as we're crawling through, I'm thinking, okay, this is good. This is good. But the deeper I got into this wormhole, the smaller the enclosed space became. It was about 2 feet by 3 feet in diameter. And there literally is nothing you can do but wiggle your way through. Sometimes your shoulder would get stuck on a rock. You would have to somehow wiggle around that rock. And it brought me to that moment where I was pushing through and I thought, I'm doing good here. I'm doing really good. And I started pushing up and I felt this wall. It was just dead wall. I thought, wow. Did I take a wrong turn? There's only one tube. I'm going in the same direction. And I realized that it wasn't a wall and it wasn't a rock, but it was a shoe. It was the person in front of me's shoe. But that shoe was motionless. And then I started to panic because I realized something was wrong, dead wrong. I could hear some screaming faintly up ahead. And then that dead shoe, that motionless shoe, began to spasm and kick. And I was stuck. And the dust in the cave started picking up, and I started swallowing it. And I was freaking out. There was only one thing I could do, and that was to wait for my instruction. I'd gone as far as I could go. There was only one way out of this mess, and that was through the same direction that the motionless but now spasming body in front of me was preventing me from. I could hear people talking, and as they talked this person through, he started to move, and I thought, oh, this is great. This is great. I'm going to push through a little bit more. So I started to push through a little bit more and just like bumper cars, just pushing. Hopefully I'm following enough, inching my way through this hole. And I got about 5 feet into where that person was prior to our stop. And I realized something. I figured out why they stopped. There's a section where you have to bend your torso over like this and go downhill. And guess what? After the knees, these things don't bend. And it got stuck. My shins were stuck on the rock. And I started to freak out. And now for a moment where I thought there was progress, I was the one stuck. And I felt someone tapping on my shoes. And they thought the same thing I thought. Is this person dead? What's going on? And I started to freak out. While I was waiting for instruction and trying not to lose it, I was able to see through the corner of my eyes, and my headlamp was peering off into this little crack. I realized something, and it came to me. I'm in a cave. And you know what lives in caves? Bats! Bats live in caves. And guess what I saw? I saw bats right in front of my face, hanging, just chilling, like a little family. And something went through my mind. If you all remember The Emperor's New Groove, in that scene where he's looking into a cave and then his mouth gets filled with a bunch of bats and he flies into the abyss? I knew it. I knew it. This is how I die. And I did everything I could to breathe through my nose and keep my lips shut because there were not going to be bats flying into my mouth this day. Before I could absolutely panic and lose it, I heard a voice. Hey, John, you're almost there. I need you to twist your shoulder to the right, flip your hip to the left, and push with your toes. And I said, that doesn't sound easy. He says, it's not, but you're going to do it. I said, okay. I tried it, and I got a little bit of an inch further. He's like, good. Good, and I want you to do it again, but I want you to twist your hips a little bit more to the left and start inching your way through. So I started pushing, and all of a sudden, I was moving again. My shins weren't stuck. The bats were going bye-bye, and I was going to escape. And now, I'm pushing through this tube, and as there's no more foot in front of me, I can start to move my arm. I can start to feel my shoulders open up, and I was going through. And as I'm squiggling through this cave, I started to feel nothing in front of me. And all of a sudden, there was nothing. And my hips were the only thing left inside this tube. And then I plopped onto this floor, only to be greeted by a hand that grabbed me and said, well done. You've made it. Right? Isn't that amazing? The most exhilarating thing. And guess what? Now that we're in the big cave that we climbed hours to get into, we have to go back through the same tube. But let me tell you something about this moment. Because yes, I made it to the most famous cavern in that area. And it was beautiful. It was so worth it. Because even though I thought my death was just moments past, moments later, I was in this room and the instructor said, turn off all your lights. And we turned off all our lights. We let our eyes adjust a little bit. And as you opened them, it looked like we were amongst the stars. This glistening, glittering, twinkling of a cavern was glowing before our eyes. And it was absolutely worth it. But the one thing I remember in all of this experience, aside from this really cool cavern, and now I'm rethinking my life because I have to go back through. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to die in this big cavern. I don't want to ever do that again. But there's no other way out. And it reminded me of my journey in life and our journey in life. As we progress, sometimes we get stuck. Sometimes we need a little help. Sometimes we need to keep our lips sealed so nothing will enter our mouth like bats. Okay, but whatever we do, there's one thing that we need to remember. Was I alone in any of this experience? The answer is no. I had my friends, I had an instructor, I had a mentor, someone who took me along this path. And today I want to talk to you about the principles of what I learned in that cave, which I like to call a mastermind. You see, a mastermind is a group of people, and when you go together, when you come as a group, as a collective, and you work together, you can get through anything. But if I was stuck in that hole alone, I'm pretty sure I would have perished with a mouthful of bats. And a mastermind is one of those things where you can find absolute accelerated success with the group and the surrounding of the people with you. Usually there's a mentor, usually there's a facilitator, usually there's somebody who will help you get through. But you're also with people, with your friends, who are doing the exact same thing that you are striving to do as well. Whether it be fix their business, or improve their marriage, or enhance their intellect, or fix whatever it is that they need. You see, the definition of a mastermind as deemed by the father of the term mastermind, Napoleon Hill, from the book Think and Grow Rich, he says a coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony. Hard to think of harmony in that cave. To attain a definite purpose. That means that you as a group work together to help each other overcome things, overcome challenges. I mentioned Napoleon Hill. And he was the writer of Think and Grow Rich. Okay? And on the right here you see Thomas Edison. And Thomas Edison is also one of the founding fathers of the term mastermind. You see, Thomas Edison used the mastermind to his abilities. And he was able to do so much good in the world, invent amazing things. But everyone thinks of him as this great, extraordinary person. But Edison will be the first one to admit that he could not have done it without the help of other people, the counsel of amazing individuals who were able to help fund, help operate, help create, and help expound the ideas that he had created for himself. Pretty amazing. Napoleon Hill sat underneath the the mentorship of one of the richest and successful persons in the world, the Carnegie family. And he was able to learn from their experiences, and it was a really cool thing, and they put this to paper. And one of my favorite things about a mastermind is that when you make plans to achieve a goal, any goal in your life, anything that you're working on, when you make plans to achieve your ultimate desires with persistence and intelligence, and you are selective, meaning you don't go into that hole, that wormhole with a bunch of people who probably won't fit through it, okay? You want to do this with a selective mastermind, your desire will have already been halfway reached, even before you recognize it. Even before you recognize it. So just by associating yourself with really cool people who are going to help you get there with the spirit of harmony, you will find yourself already halfway closer to the goal and desire before you even start. Pretty cool, right? Let's get into some details because this is one of my favorite things. Why do we need a mastermind? And I'm going to tell you a little bit later why I believe that a mastermind is what needs to be found in the foundations of a family, in the foundations of our education system, in the foundations of our government and municipality systems, in the foundations of corporations, at the World Trade Centers. We need masterminds because if we don't follow these simple processes, this little organization, this foundational principle, then we are missing out on one of the greatest and fastest ways for us to succeed and to grow. So I will share that with you in a minute. But a mastermind for you, and you've probably heard this term before, but as I explained earlier, it's a group, right? It's a group. And one of the best masterminds I know of is a fictional group of people. You see, raise your hand if you know who Gandalf the Grey is. No? Okay, let me just tell you. Gandalf the Grey is one of the most amazing people to live in a fictional world, and he's a wizard. Did I get you there? Okay, I know I got you there. Okay, he is amazing. And Gandalf the Grey gathers what he calls a fellowship, starting with these tiny little people called hobbits. And then he gets these people like hobbits, and then he gets these elves, and then these dwarves, and then some other really cool humans that are really really good at battling in armies. And he brings these people together and he takes them on a journey. They call it the Fellowship of the Ring. And together as a mastermind, as a collective, the fellowship delivers the ring from one location to the deepest, darkest part of that world to save that world. One of the greatest masterminds I've ever heard of. And I'm so excited to explain to you that you get to surround yourself with the Gandalfs of the almost dropped my thing here. I got so excited. You get to surround yourself with the Gandalfs of the world, with the little hobbits and the elves and the... Okay, if I lost you there, then let me tell you this. In preparation for the book, The Hobbit, J.R.R. Tolkien, author of the Lord of the Rings series and The Hobbit, he was a part of a famous writers group. And amongst this were some of the best writers in the world. One named C.S. Lewis. You ever heard of him? Awesome. And J.R.R. Tolkien takes this, and let's just call him Tolkien for now. He goes to this mastermind and he says, hey, I need help. I just finished my new book, The Hobbit. It was a hit. People love it. But I don't know what to do next. You see, I have these ideas, but I just can't figure out what goes after the creation of The Hobbit. And they think about it, they give some ideas and suggestions, but it was C.S. Lewis who spoke to J.R.R. Tolkien and said, you know, what makes a hobbit interesting is when he leaves his hometown, called the Shire. And when a hobbit leaves its hometown, his story begins. J.R.R. Tolkien took that and said, you know, you're right. You're absolutely right. And thus emerged one of the greatest successful trilogies in mankind, The Lord of the Rings. Right? So cool. So let's talk about this. The perfect mastermind for you. Think of your fellowship. Think of the people who you need to surround yourself with. They've got to be strong-willed. They've got to be confident. They've got to be willing. They've got to be able to follow instructions, but also willing to teach, mentor, and give instruction. But the best mastermind for you The best mastermind is the people you surround yourself with who are going to take you from your current status to wherever you're heading, the biggest, greatest desire you have in life. And I've written here that the best mastermind for you is a place where you can be taught by others, where you can teach others, and where you can move towards your purpose. Those are the three things that mean most to us in life. And if you surround yourself with that, you have taken the advice of some of these great individuals who have succeeded at higher levels than any of us can fathom. Let me tell you what a mastermind is not, so you just don't get confused. You see, a mastermind, if you've ever heard the term, is not one person. A mastermind is a collective. It's the fellowship, right? And together, a mastermind works in progress, in harmony. That doesn't sound like that first word, right? A mastermind is not a criminal, though we use that term, criminal mastermind. It is not a criminal. A mastermind is not one brilliant mind or some genius like Thomas Edison was. And it's not a mentor, a speaker, or a coach. But what a mastermind is that group, that fellowship, your team, the team of people who you're going to surround yourself so you can deliver the most important thing in this world, which is your goals, your desires. It's also not a sales pitch or a presentation. Some people get confused by that. You go to this thing called a mastermind, and all of a sudden, you're like, I'm being sold to. I am getting the hunch that they are trying to put me in some sort of system. And I'm going to lose my money today if I don't plug up my wallet and shut my mouth and maybe even take a few bathroom breaks so I can miss the main line, right? It's not one of those. And it's not a circle of gossip either. And I use this one lightly because people will often mistake a mastermind as a place for talking about others or a place for receiving some sort of therapy. This is not a group coaching session. In fact, it is the opposite. It is a group of people who are going to help each other overcome challenges. That's what a mastermind is. Please take out your pencils. I know that you have brought pencils with you today, a pen or a paper, and I want you to hold them out and wave them at me, all right? Like you're waving the wizarding wand of Gandalf the Grey. Whoa, don't cast that spell, please. Okay, all right, that's a good one. All right, I want you to write this phrase down. My greatest challenge is, and I want you to remember, your greatest challenge could be personal, it could be business related, it could be about a goal, but what is your greatest challenge? A great example of this is my greatest challenge is turning the people I meet in networking events into friends. Or my greatest challenge is converting my sales. Or my greatest challenge is actually finding stages to speak on. My greatest challenge could be marketing on social media and understanding the algorithms. It could be a plethora of things. I just wanted to use that word. All right. So when you write that down, I want you to think about this as we move forward because your greatest challenge could be solved today. But remember, even just by associating yourself with the right people, creating your team, your fellowship, your championship group, you're already halfway closer than you were before. I promise that. The secrets to some of the best masterminds I've attended, and I've attended a lot. In fact, to date, I've attended over 100 masterminds worldwide, including the ones that claim to be masterminds but aren't. But let me tell you about the good ones. The best masterminds in the world are the ones that you start to develop these kinds of attributes. You can become teachable. And if you are teachable and if you're in that mindset, you will start to learn a lot faster. You can be selfless in them, okay? And the people around you are selfless. When it's your turn, they're giving without any regard to what it might cost because they're so excited for your personal and professional development. The next one is to be humble. The best masterminds are filled with people who are humble, who are excited to help others, but will stay seated and will take information in. When somebody gives them a mentorship or some sort of idea, they will take it in. You can also be, this is my favorite word, you ready for this? I want everyone to say this with me, malleable. Malleable. Isn't that fun? You kind of move your lips up and down, malleable, right? The word malleable. The best masterminds are the ones with people who are malleable. In another word, they're coachable, they're teachable. And when you're malleable, You're willing to take on the advice and the counsel of other great people. And if you do that, man, imagine what you can do from the advice of great, amazing professional people. The last one, or the second to last one, is powerful. Be powerful. I mentioned that. You want to be powerful, and you want to be with powerful people. And that's by surrounding yourselves with your fellowship, your clan, your group. And then you also have to be specific. In the last example, I asked you to write down what your greatest challenge is. I hope you were specific. Because if you're specific, imagine how much faster we can get you to your desires, to help you achieve your goals. I've been in so many great masterminds, and my favorite ones are the ones that I've been a part of, and the ones that have given me so much more direction in my life. The first mastermind I ever joined, I had to, I couldn't afford it. I was actually pretty poor, and when they told me it's going to cost you about $300 a month to attend, I said, okay, I have to be in this room because it's filled with entrepreneurs, CEOs, founders, executive boardsmen, and so forth. And I was like, I need to be here. So I went out and I drove for Uber. And when I drove for Uber, I made a little money on the side. I went out and I did this thing where you open up your veins and then they withdraw plasma, right? I donated plasma to be able to afford this. And I did some side-end jobs like delivering pizzas, all so that I could afford my first mastermind, because I understood the power and the clarity that comes from being in that room. And in this room, I was able to learn so much. And this fellowship of entrepreneurs, CEOs, incredible people, I found myself succeeding at faster rates than I had ever succeeded before. It was awesome. It was awesome. And the mastermind principles that we learned from Mr. Napoleon Hill and Thomas Edison, we learned that if you surround yourself with great people, they will go to great lengths and great places. You see, there's a proverb that says, if you want to go fast in life, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. If you want to go far, say it with me, go together. We got to form our fellowship. Let's follow that man in a gray beard and let's head off into the wilderness. Maybe it's not that, but maybe it is. Maybe it's as exciting as doing something like that. But maybe your dream is as big as changing the world. Or maybe it's as important as saving your kids and family. Or maybe, just maybe, it's as vital to our existence as contributing to society. Whatever it is, the best masterminds are filled with you. And in 9 months, after 9 months of being in my first mastermind, I had tripled my income. I quit my corporate job. I started 2 or 3 new businesses, ours, because one was kind of like, am I in sales or am I in business? And then the other one was that I began writing my first book, my first story, my first autobiography as a young person. And that meant so much more to me than working the 9 to 5 that I had done before. All of that was done in just a short amount of time with my fellowship, with my mastermind. Another great example, young lady comes to us, young entrepreneur, actually 16 years old, says, I've got an idea, but I need to be a part of this mastermind. So we somehow figure out how to get her into this mastermind. And she's got this idea. She says, look, it might be unconventional, but I love dreadlocks. You know, some of us are like completely turned off, like, okay, this is weird. She's like, I love dreadlocks. I love what it brings to me. I love the confidence it gives me. It gives women some really cool confidence. It gives men cool confidence. I want to create a synthetic dreadlocks company. And in this mastermind, we started coming up with ideas and supporting this person. We went on this journey into the wilderness together, and we started having ideas, sharing resources. And within just 2 months, from Etsy sales, we all know what Etsy is, that online, on that place where you can shop from, handmade gifts. Etsy sales, she was making more money than the guy leading the mastermind. She had quadrupled what she had done before because of just a simple gathering and a united group of people. One more story. I want to tell another one. This is great. We had another individual who came to us and he says, I'm sick and tired of doing the odd end jobs for my real estate broker. He said, I'm sick and tired of doing it. I have an idea. I bought a drone and I want to take photos and videos for real estate people. That just sounds fun, going out every day and flying drones. And so we created this business plan for him. And together we created goals and solutions, and we held him accountable to what he could do and what he could achieve in such a short amount of time. And within 2 months, this person was making 6 figures as a real estate photographer using his drones. Isn't that amazing? All right, one more story. But less about business. There was a renowned CEO in one of my masterminds. And he came to us and said, look, I'm sorry, no, it wasn't a he, it was a she. She came to us and she said, I am completely overwhelmed. And I'm losing my confidence. I'm losing my faith in myself. And on a personal level, none of us are coaches. None of us are qualified individuals to help this person overcome maybe what they're going through emotionally. But the emotional intelligence in the room qualified us to lead in a spirit of harmony, to create a solution for them. And it was so cool to see her transformation over week to week, month to month, that person achieved so much more than they had before. Get those pens out again. Okay, awesome. And I want you to write this phrase down. Now that you know what your greatest challenge is, because my greatest challenge is fill in the blank, I'd like help in achieving blank. If you can become clear on what your challenges are, then we can also be clear on what we need help with. Because my greatest challenge is confidence. I'd like help becoming a better public speaker, or to become a better presenter or a better salesperson. So take a moment to think about that and write it down. These are principles right out of that book, Think and Grow Rich, that are going to help you become clear so that as you gather yourself around awesome, amazing people, you will find yourself to succeed. All right. Now, there's a few things that I want to just cover, but in the spirit of time, I want to make sure that we get to what I want to give you as an opportunity to learn and an opportunity to grow here today. But a mastermind doesn't have to be serious. It doesn't have to be business. I mean, the fellowship of the ring of those people, they had a good time. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were best friends. And it's fun to go far when you have friends, right? And so some of the principles I'd like to share with you are so important that they're foundational. But because they're foundational, I want you to take one thing away from this slide right here, which is knowledge is power. Knowledge is what?
Power.
Knowledge is power. And one knowledge is one power. But if you take 2 knowledges, how many powers do you get? This math is pretty hard. Okay? Now, if I take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 knowledges, I get that much more power. And when you put that much power in a room together, you can accomplish and achieve anything. Anything. That's the most important piece I want you to take away from this. There's some other things I want to talk to you guys about, but just in the spirit of time, I want you to know that we can talk about it after as I invite you to one of the coolest masterminds and events coming up. The next piece is that a mastermind is full of acceleration. It's one of my favorite words, acceleration. That's a fun one to say. Say it with me, acceleration.
Acceleration.
Watch your lips as you say acceleration.
Acceleration.
Cool, yeah, that's a fun word. It accelerates your progress. I mentioned the time frames of these blocks. And in the time frames of these blocks, these people were able to overcome the greatest challenges in their life at that time. And because of that, these people and myself found ourselves accelerating our successes, achieving more. But the greatest thing that I accelerated was my relationships. And when I accelerated my relationships, the power and the knowledges that we put together helped us achieve that much more. I'm so grateful for it. And I have a theory, and you don't have to do anything but take a picture of this slide, the theory is that there are 3 levels to relationships. And in the 3 levels of relationships, there's where everyone else in the world sits, which is called a transactional level. And at the transactional level, as you can tell by this very scientific emoji, that people don't really get the best out of their relationships. But a transactional relationship is where the world rides. But when you raise your levels to a reciprocal relationship where I help you, you help me, we're going to help each other, we're going to go places, we've now built a foundation that's a lot stronger than this transactional one. But what we're all seeking for is the money maker over there. Check him out. The money maker, which is perpetual relationships. And let me just define that for you very simply. A perpetual relationship is the kind of relationship where you're willing to give without asking in return. And you're willing to receive without question. Humility and excitement. Those are some of the greatest relationships built. And imagine not only in your family, but at work or in business, if your partnerships are built on a perpetual level. Money maker, yeah! Okay, so that's an important principle. And I give an entire workshop seminar on the principles of these relationships, which we can get into later. Accelerated successes. This is the most important piece before I invite you to play a little game with me. Are you ready for this? You can accelerate your successes, and I call them the 3 irrefutable laws of high performance. This is through accountability. And when you are amongst a mastermind, your fellowship, your group of people, you obtain personal accountability measures that will help you launch and accelerate your success. Not only that, but you'll be surrounded by other professionals who will launch and accelerate your success. And last is your group. Being group, the knowledges of many put together to create this amazing group will help you accelerate your successes and propel you into the future. That's what you get out of a mastermind. So don't tell me that we don't need masterminds, because as far as I understand it, we absolutely need them in our families, in our religions, in our governments, in our corporations, teams, and education systems. And that's just the beginning list. Imagine what we could do if we started forming these groups together. How far can we go? And I'm so confident in the process and in the foundations of these principles. I'd like to invite you to play a little game with me. And in fact, since there's so many people here, thousands of you, I'm going to give each of you a gift. All right, here is your gift. All right, here is your gift. Here is your gift. And then obviously you have to please the judges. So all right. So one thing I forgot to mention, and I didn't forget, I waited till the end, is in your fellowship, in your experiences, yes, the road is tough. Yes, the road is hard, but it is fun. And if you're not having fun in life, then you're not going faster and you're not accelerating. I mean, sometimes, and many of you, and I'll make this short, but if you've ever ridden in a sports car, okay, you may not be car people, but if you've ever ridden in a sports car, and when that person steps on the pedal to the floor, and you hit the turbo, there's this little thing in your body that comes out, and it's usually either a scream, yelp, or laugh. And most of us laugh because it's like, right? And when you do that, you're having fun. And one thing in the world of business and in the world of overcoming ourselves or personal development, we forget to have fun because the process should be fun. So I want to have a little bit of fun with you. You all have an important piece, which is a Nerf gun, and I want you to take your shot. Have you ever wanted to shoot a speaker from the stage? I have, so this is why I gave you the guns. So I want you to take your shot. But remember, as you aim, think about, not hurting me, okay? Think about, take this moment, think about hitting your target. I represent your desire, your goal. And together, if we hit this target together, we can do anything. Okay, I'm gonna spread out here, give you as much distance. I'm gonna cover my eyes, take your shots. Target hit. Yes! Keep it coming. I purposely gave you some of you less ammo than others. Okay, first of all, give yourselves a round of applause. That was fun. And second, have you ever done that? You ever shot at a speaker? Okay. The reason why I do that is because we have fun. And would it be okay if I took just a moment to share with you what it would look like for us to have fun together in a mastermind? Would it be okay if I took just a moment? Great, great. We created, out of all the experiences and out of all the events I've ever attended, our own mastermind called the Champion Circle. And the Champion Circle is a collective, it's a fellowship of people who will make your experiences awesome. And you will have so much success out of this. But my favorite part of it all is that we have fun. And this I'm going to give to you today free. Is it okay if I give you a free gift? Okay? All right. I'm going to give you a free pass, a free guest pass to my Champion Circle Mastermind. Is that exciting? Okay, let me show you what you're getting into. The first thing is you're going to have access. You're going to meet our exclusive community of mentors, teachers, coaches, speakers, and amazing champions. The second piece is that you're going to be able to surround yourself with like-minded professionals, a network of people just like you trying to achieve the goals that you want to achieve, that have gone before you in the directions that you're heading, and have also have the ability to give you counsel. And then we also bring in a like-minded group of mentors who can speak to us. Another one is 100% professional feedback. This is my favorite part, because what makes people grow, what makes people better is feedback, so that we can progress, so that we can change what we're doing, so that we can do it for the better. Feedback is so important. And then one of the other pieces is that you get top-notch learning opportunities. When you learn and you teach, you grow faster, as just proven. And then the full session Champion Circle Mastermind guest pass is gifted to you. I'm so excited to have some fun with you. And Melanie, awesome. That's my signal I give to my giveaway. And one of the things I want you guys to know is, that, yes, those are the benefits of attending a mastermind, as we described in this whole experience. But what you walk away with is so cool. And the way that we do this, the way that you experience it, is through a small networking event, intimate, enclosed, and private, so that you can have that environment to help you build your team, your fellowship. It's a 2-hour small group facilitated mastermind. And what that means is that we have professionals on hand to facilitate this experience, to curate the environment so that you can have success. And then what you also experience is fun millionaire building at games, like shooting Nerf guns or laser tag, or I won't say trust fall, but trust building activities, okay? Really fun things. And I call them millionaire building activities because they truly begin to have you have fun and see the environment that allows you to grow and build your fellowship in a strong way. Here's a couple of examples. We had a group of, many of you familiar with the Female Entrepreneur Empire group. We took a bunch of the female entrepreneurs to Provo Beach, rented it out for the day, and we did ropes course, as you see behind them. And we had some seminars type stuff, which is all kind of aside from the mastermind methodologies, but it was all part of our relationship development. And we even had an opportunity to play a little Nerf battle, okay? Nerf guns just bring out the best and worst in us, right? They also bring out some fun, playful sides to us. But we had an incredible time of networking and building relationships. These are a group of important and amazing professionals in the workforce. And they're out having fun and building deeper relationships. So again, this is what it looks like. This is what you get to experience when you come to a Champion Circle Mastermind. A few examples, and this is just some text messages I've screenshotted to show you some of the experiences that people have had while being a part of the accountability that comes in our mastermind. Such as Daniel. Daniel actually had a huge win when he came to our mastermind and said, I need to raise $20,000. And Daniel went and followed our advice as a fellowship, as a mastermind, and he came back a couple weeks later and said, I didn't just raise $20,000, I raised $40,000 and I sold a franchise of my business. That was a really cool thing to text him about. And then another one is John Moore. John, a good friend of mine, he actually overcame some of his scheduling and calendar problems. He was having a hard time focusing during and throughout the day. And so it was really cool to see him. But one of my favorite stories is this person. Lauren and Ty Cobb came to our mastermind, and within a few months of participating and relating and connecting, I mean, they felt like they had nothing to share. They felt like they were misplaced and not in the right room. But they shared this with us as they started to overcome their challenges. They said, we struggled mentally and financially for the longest time. But over the course of the Champion Circle, our lives changed and our relationships are turning into lifelong friendships. And this is the best part right here. It's my favorite part because I love money. Our income has more than doubled in the last 90 days. That was so cool to see, witness, and hear, and to watch as the counsel of our mastermind helped others. So again, this is what it looks like and what you're going to be receiving and how exciting it's going to be part of our mastermind. Now I want you to take your pens out again. I want you to take your pens out. And my lovely assistant has handed out to you a little card. I want you to fill out this card. And by filling out this card, I will give you another gift. So fill it out. And by filling out this card, I will give you another gift. You see, out of all the masterminds I've attended, I've also studied this a little bit. As a certified mastermind facilitator for the Mastermind Association, I've learned that there's some resources that can really help you. And I've gathered some of these resources into my own PDF, my own ebook called The 10 Game-Changing Mastermind Secrets. And I'm willing to share those with you. From my mastermind library, I want to give that to you as a way to prepare you to come to our next Champion Circle Mastermind. So in closing and in review, we know that if you want to go fast in life, you go alone. But if you want to go far, say it with me, you go together. And when we go together, we can make anything possible. And the most important thing that I hope you take away from this, whether you came here today to overcome a challenge or because you came to understand a little bit more about this mastermind methodology or how to improve something in your life, whatever your greatest challenge is, the most important thing in this world, in your world, are your desires and your goals. And look, if you don't fight for them, then no one else will. But if you fight for them, and you surround yourself with the right people, a mastermind, you will accelerate your success and find yourself winning in every area of your life. I'm Jon Kovach Jr. Thank you so much.